In this lesson, you learn about how we protect it from theft, and our computer from theft and damage, how we can safeguard our data, look at the environmental factors, protect computers from power loss, identify potential hardware problems, your vocabulary words, pretty small list on this one. Be sure and do that in your blackboard. That's the matching problem. And so protecting hardware, capital loss of equipment and the related downtime. If you lose some hardware, then you've got downtime. In addition to that, losing sensitive material, that can't sometimes be recreated. If the box is stolen, or the laptop is stolen, or your phone is stolen, the data is gone forever. And for a company, if it's a company piece, then you're talking about long-term consequences. Stuff has to be recreated. So you have to try and make sure you're using it in a secure environment, where it's physically secured. Notebook computers, handheld devices, cell phones, they're a little more difficult to do because they're transportable. So you have to always have your eye on them. They always have to be with you. They have to be in touch, arm's length. If they get further than arm's length away, then they're probably going to disappear. So in addition to these safeguards, you can use security locks. You can attach an alarm to it so it'll sound when it's moved. Of course, we mark all the hardware here, and companies do, with identification tags that can be traced or difficult to remove. Of course, the equipment can be insured and easily replaced. And then we use a scheduled backup to secure the data somewhere else, either on a server in the cloud or at your company server. It backs up over the network every night, or you manually do it on a schedule. So hardware can be replaced, but data is another story. It's a critical component. It's not easily replaced. Depending on what kind of data is stolen, it's four predominant factors: the value of the data, massive amounts of confidential data, increased use of mobile devices is another factor that increases the severity and increases the occasion or the number of times that opportunities for it to be stolen. And there's an increased proficiency of the data hackers and thieves. They're getting smarter and smarter, and it's harder and harder to outsmart them. So the data can be stolen. You don't even know it. Okay? It's not like it's a USB drive and you left it laying in the lab and somebody took it and it's got all your personal information in it for whatever reason. That's one thing. But hackers load programs that copy your keystrokes, copy your screen, and sends it off somewhere to a server. You don't even know it's happening once you get one of those wicked viruses. So we use encryption to encrypt the data before it goes out over the network, so somebody is watching or eavesdropping on your data line. When the data leaves your computer, it can be encrypted. So it's basically scrambled mathematically and then descrambled on the other end. And the other end, wherever the data is going, knows what that algorithm or that math formula is to descramble it. Of course, data backup is something that you must do. I can remember working at Premium Allied Tool, and the vice president of engineering and design and development lost his whole system, and he had not been doing proper backups. So we lost a lot of work in one few seconds. That sometimes it can be pulled off of the hard drive. There's companies out there that will do that, but by and large, most of us can't afford to pay that fee to have that done. If it's really, really important, if it's a high value, then you'll find the way to do it. So backup procedures should, of course, put priority on files that would be difficult or impossible to replace. Companies' financial statements, important projects, and any kind of work that's in process. Remember, if you work somewhere and your career ends up being using a computer on a daily basis, whatever you're doing on screen is in RAM. It's volatile. It's only good while it's up. And they are changing that. I know that if you use Google in their Open Drive or their Sheets and their Word type of processing and so forth, it's real time. Everything that you do, it goes into the file immediately. There is no save operation you have to do. It updates while you're going along. Okay, and I know that Microsoft has a similar option. That's through that Office 365, and we're going to learn more about that. That's available to everybody, free, full Office. It's all free. Environmental factors, okay, include the temperature and humidity, electrical fields. So temperature, the computer likes to be in a temperature about like you do, 68, 75. Okay, if it gets over 85, then you have potential problems getting ready to occur, mainly for your data storage, but your motherboard and the electronics in there over 85 degrees could start malfunctioning and lose some data. Okay, of course it doesn't want to be too low. You know, if you get around 20% humidity, then you've got static problems. Water damage, I mean, duh, it's electronic, it's electrical. You got to keep it away from water and potential water problems. So in here, you know, if there's a fire somewhere in the building that's serious, these sprinkler heads could go off. And fortunately, the towers are underneath the desk, so we're protected pretty good there. We'd probably lose the monitors and keyboards if they're powered up. I did have a leak here one time, fell on this station 2 where Sam's sitting, and the water went all over that keyboard and monitor and stuff for a period of time during the summer, and we didn't know it. Somebody hadn't been in here in a while, but it dried out and it's working fine. So magnetic fields, that would be in industry where you'd have potential for large magnetic fields. You have to be sure your computer is not in one. Of course, storage media is got to be protected from that. You have to be cognizant of where magnetic fields could be occurring. And then instead of carpet, you want tile floors. If you have carpet, like at your house, you have a desktop computer in particular, and you're using it in one spot where there is carpet, then you want an anti-static mat, or you want some anti-static spray. Usually not a problem in Kentucky. We have plenty of humidity. Static is usually not an issue except for in the middle of the winter. Physical damage, of course, being knocked over, something falling on it, dropping it. You need a good padded case. And then poor maintenance, considered an environmental factor. You do want to clean your computer occasionally, as far as inside of it if you can. If it's a tower, if it's a keyboard, you do want to clean it out occasionally, turn it upside down and tapping it. You do want to clean mice, input devices, anything humans are touching. And then all the touch screen stuff, I mean, you know, you occasionally have to clean it. You can't get to the insides of it. There's really no moving parts or no air flowing through it to speak of. So I don't think it gets any dust in it unless you're using it outside in a hostile environment of some kind. So protecting from power loss, we can have a power surge, a lightning strike. There's really, if it's a direct lightning strike to your house, there's no device that's going to really protect it. Okay, but if it's nearby, you know, out on a power line or something, or because of the way the electrical power grid switches electricity, it could create a surge. So you do want surge protection of some kind, okay? And they're all different prices and all different, some of them can come with an insurance policy, okay, where it will replace your equipment if it's damaged, proven damaged by a surge. Then if you lose power, if you're a business, you don't want your computer to go down, you've got a big project running on your computer, whatever it is, and you don't want to, you know, just because the power goes out, glitches. So you can buy a universal power supply, uninterruptible power supply. So used to saying universal for the U. They're relatively inexpensive, you know, in the couple of $100 range for one that would, you know, last for a few minutes. Okay, at least enough time to let you save things. Okay, then all the way up to, you know, run for, you know, days or maybe even longer. Then you need a generator. So hardware problems, you can have a crash drive. Of course, your media can become damaged from heat or any of these other factors. Your printer and your monitor can have issues. You can lose the network, internet connectivity, and then just general failure they mention. You know, the hardware just fails. So some of it you can fix. Most of the time, serious, you've got to take it to a computer repair professional. Hard drives, they can stop if they're overheated, dropped or shaken, and basically they do wear out. They don't last forever. They can last a long time, and the computer can stop using it. The computer becomes out of date, and there's updates for the hard drive, and it can't access them, and it can become unusable, or it can be infected with a virus. That's the most common thing. Then you have to have it, take it in somewhere where they can pull out all your data that's usable and scan and make sure it's clean, and then reformat or reconfigure the hard drive. And then there's some viruses that get into the computer and they cannot remove it. They cannot get the virus out of it. You have to just throw it away. So it's talking about using a boot disk on a computer. That would be a desktop unit. Most of your laptops and most of the new computers, desktop computers, don't even have a boot disk possible. You can work off of a CD, and it can be the boot disk. Okay, and what the boot disk means is it has all the basic operating system instructions on it to get the computer started up and not use the hard drive. So when the computer starts up, it'll look for different drives, and if you have something in the CD, or you connect a USB CD with a USB port, it will access there, and the operating system will start up off of that. And so diagnostic recovery programs can locate the bad sectors, and you can use a data recovery service. Printer problems, you know, the too many to list, too many to go over. Basically, it's humidity problem, wrong paper, bad paper, it's wrinkled. You know, it wants it to be smooth and nice and clean. Okay, so basically try to open it and clean it out It has its own maintenance procedures, so you can run those for the ink and the ink jets, the inkjet heads, and so forth. Of course, if you're using a laser cartridge, toner cartridges in a laser type printer, those things can be quite messy and spill over into the printer itself and cause problems. Display problems, your monitor, if your monitor goes blank, well, you're going to have to try and hook up a different one to test and see if it's the monitor or if it's your display driver or your display interface. Okay, so it could be the card, could be that circuit on your laptop. Most laptops have an extra port where you can hook an additional monitor. Then you can test out and see, if that works. If that does, then it's some circuitry with your monitor on your laptop. You're going to have to send the laptop to Dell or to some repair center. So basically, inoperable hardware devices, general failure, the hardware doesn't work. So now it could be a software problem. You need a new driver. The driver has become corrupted. It's an electrical problem or a mechanical problem. So a little bitty program that's installed inside of your operating system called a driver has instructions for your specific hardware. And I know if you've used a computer at all, you've run into a problem where it's asking for a new driver. Or can you download this new driver? There are new drivers available, so a lot of that happens. So, and you could just have it installed incorrectly. And that'll create some hardware failure. So when we have loss of network or internet connectivity, basically the network provider like AT&T or whoever it might be, Time Warner, they're just not working, they're down. You got a problem out there in the infrastructure. It could be your network adapter and switch ports don't match. Your network adapter is incompatible with the motherboard or other hardware components. So if it was up and running and then it quits, you don't have network connectivity, then it's the outside has happened. And if you've not done anything inside and your computer's running good otherwise, it's probably the network, okay, outside your computer. So you can use what they call a DOS ping command, and the ping command allows you to connect out. It actually sends a signal out to a provider, and it sends back information and tells the pathway, all the different paths that it's taken, touching different servers, and it kind of looks like that on your screen. You actually go to the DOS prompt area of your operating system, and you would type in the command ping, P-I-N-G, and then a website, okay, like Cengage.com in this case, and it would go out there and send sample bits of data to it and get a reply. So to do it several times and then give you some statistics about it, so you can prove your network is working. You can ping something and find out, if that's where the problem is or if it's inside your computer. You would also want to verify that other computers on the same network that are plugged into the same switch, the same router, the same Wi-Fi, that they're operating okay. And if they're not, then it's probably not some coincidence that 2 or 3 pieces of the same kind of hardware are all not working on the network at the same time, that they all failed themselves at the same time. It's something on the network. So just restart the router. Sometimes that's all it takes. Unplug it, plug it back in to the power source. Then from that point, you might have to check the network card. and there is some troubleshooting procedures in Microsoft that will help identify what's going on in the computer and where the connectivity is stopping. It says try another network cable. Well, I guess if you're hooking it up for the first time and you have an unknown cable, you've never hooked it up with the network using a cable, then you probably do want to try another cable if it's not connecting. But if your computer's been working over the same network cable, cables just don't up and go bad overnight all by themselves. I mean, unless somebody's got it hung in the vacuum cleaner, or, you know, the cat chewed on the wire, or whatever. You know, that could happen. I guess you need to inspect it to make sure. If you're using a wireless router, then you have to look for signal interference, other home appliances, refrigerators, electric ovens, different things like that. So wherever your router is in your home and wherever your computer is, you don't need a line of sight, but you do need to not have a lot of appliances and concrete walls separating, especially, you know, concrete block walls like these that might have wire inside of them. You know, that can limit. That's why we, of course, up above us, we have a 4-inch concrete slab where all the air handling equipment is upstairs and all the metal supporting that. So that's why cell phone reception in here is really poor. You know, Wi-Fi tends to come in pretty good, but it got a lot of windows, you know. But the cell towers, they do need kind of a direct line of sight. They go through things. It does go through most materials, but our main AT&T tower is south of here. You can see it if you go out the back door and look. You can see the tower way out there. Okay, and it's aiming down at us. So it's got to come through our metal roof and come through this floor. So that's why it works real good out there at that window. Okay. So, computer equipment needs to be protected from theft and damage. Data should be backed up frequently and consistently. The right balance of physical and environmental conditions are necessary to keep them running good. You want to stay away from high humidity and low humidity, and water, and electrical fields, magnetic fields. Participate in some kind of preventative maintenance for your computer. Electrical power surges, really failure can destroy the data because it's in RAM and you lose the data, and then power surges can affect your computer equipment, so you need a good surge suppressor. And computer systems are vulnerable to problems such as a crashed hard disk, a damaged media, printer and display problems, inoperable hardware devices, loss of network and internet connectivity. It's a wonder we, you know, can use them, right? There's so many things that can affect it and go wrong, but they have perfected really well, and they work incredibly good compared to all the potential problems you could have. I mean, in the different environments you put it through. Putting it in your car, in your trunk, carrying it everywhere. It tends to work. It's works really well. Any questions anybody has about any of that, or comments? All right. I will put this on Blackboard